What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Wallet Monkey channel, where we give you all the credit intel you need to grow your wallet. Today, what we're going to talk about is what would you do and how would you rebuild credit, right? Meaning that you've got some derogatories, you've got some baddies on your report. What do you do, okay? And I'm going to use a piece that we actually never published as a starting point and a jumping off point for this conversation. And so this, what you see here, this perfect credit formula, is based on this book right here, which you should probably go and pick up if you haven't already. It's this guy who worked in the credit bureau system, I think. This Anthony Davenport, I think he worked there for a sizable amount of time, and his reference points and his data or expertise comes from him helping tons of people that came over to the United States as foreigners, and so they were brand new to building credit, getting a social security number, all those things. So migrating over legally, high net worth individuals who've got a shit ton of cash and they've got no credit whatsoever. So maybe like an athlete or somebody who suddenly comes into a lot of money that doesn't have a credit score, or they've got a really, really bad credit score, and that is his reference point that he wrote that book based off of. So anyways, the book, what it boils down to is like this 90-day formula for perfect credit. So 90 days to get you to a 740 or higher. And all it was simple. Open 4 cards at the start of the 90-day period. 2 authorized users and 2 secured cards. Now, if you did the authorized user accounts first, then usually you would see that bumped up your score, and then you might even be able to get 2 unsecured cards. Doesn't really matter. Now, that is for somebody building brand new credit. But we can take something from that and we can apply that to rebuilding credit. Because what has happened with let's call it bad or broken credit file, right? Is what's happened is you've broken trust of the banks. You've displayed and shown that you're not trustworthy with the money that they've given you, that they've lended you, right? So you were late on payments, maybe you've got a collection, maybe you've got a bankruptcy. All of that shows them that they can't trust you, essentially. So what is the one thing that we need to now do the exact opposite and build trust back is we need to have credit history on our account, on our profile as quick as possible, right? That's why I say that is because I think AUs are still insanely valuable for they're insanely valuable for building credit and rebuilding credit. So getting put on AUs would be a huge step forward. Also, too, getting yourself set up with some secured cards that are bigger, like at least $1,000, right? This $250, $500 stuff is just not worth it. You might as well just go with a Credit One or an Open Sky at that point, right? It just doesn't really make sense. So pick those wisely. That's what I'm saying. And try and get into ecosystems that you already want to get into. Like the N Rewards card at Navy Fed would be a great one because it secures up in as little as 3 months. And then you're able to get access to a bunch of other product offerings within that ecosystem, right? Anyway, there's plenty of others that graduate up, but I would say at least $1,000 on those 2 secured cards. And I would say to get at least 2 secured cards for somebody who's rebuilding credit, just like somebody who's got brand new credit. So this formula, I think, works really, really well for both instances and getting the AUs. Now, what I'd be doing simultaneously if I was rebuilding is I would either learn the code yourself, the credit law and consumer protection law yourself, and then you start to craft your own letters and means of getting inquiries deleted and collections deleted, or you're gonna have to hire somebody else. And that's where a ton of time can be wasted and a ton of money can be wasted. That's why one of the first questions I ask somebody when it comes to rebuilding credit is, how much money you got? Because we need to put money towards 2 things. Buying AUs, setting up secured credit cards, and getting rid of the bad stuff on our report. Now understand that, outside of these 2, this one you can do yourself. This one you can do through time, sweat, grit, and tenacity, right? Is just going in there, researching, and then you going out and, doing the letter mailings yourself instead of having somebody else do it, right? And so you could do that, or hire somebody to do it, and have them attack the inquiries, the collections, and getting those things removed. And with the bankruptcy, those take longer to get removed. So it might never get removed, but in the meantime, you've at least removed everything else, and you've positioned yourself with this new credit that you're going to get into ecosystems that will allow you to grow. And the reason why I bring up the Navy Fed thing so much is because their internal score and the data points that you build with them matters more than your credit score. So you will get to a point where your history with them matters more than this little bankruptcy that's on the credit file, right? So that's why it's worthwhile to do something like that. Whereas what I see a lot of people doing is with rebuilding credit, I think they just do it all wrong, right? Like the first thing they want to do is they go out and I did the same shit. Is I got my jeweler club, new Coast Direct, and I wanted to get all this store credit stuff because no hard pull. Well, those were hard pulls, but they'll report to they'll report to all three at the time, and they will approve everyone. So it was guaranteed approval. So I was thinking that was a good idea. Those trade lines, however, look like crap, and those aren't even around anymore. So you don't even have those options. So there's all these fintechs that allow you to connect your bank account, do direct deposit stuff. Yeah, I think those are really, really good. Grow Credit is another one that I'd look into. You set up your bank account, you connect your checking account, and then you would just pay for subscription services that you already pay for. We're assuming you don't have credit cards anyways that you would put those purchases on. So it makes sense that you rebuild there because with something like that, you can see upwards of a 50-point jump. Now, Navy Fed, I go in that way. 3 months later, I get the unsecured. It pivots into an unsecured card, and then I can start to look at like the pledge loan product, right? Which would then start reporting as an installment loan. I pay that thing down 90 to 93% immediately, and that's reporting as a active trade line with hopefully a good sized balance on it. So this helps rebuild my score, and I'm building my internal score with Navy Fed at the same time. So that's why it's just like, I think people get the wrong ideas. They go after the Merricks and the Credit Ones and the Indigo and all the dog shit that they show you on Experian when you log out. And under the recommendations section, Wallet Hub shows you this, and so does Credit Karma. It's all the same junk. And that's why also too, these are the same people that are getting into, these predatory personal loans where you got to put up your car and all this other weird stuff with like One Financial and places like that, is because they're desperate. So they're not thinking clearly. And they're like trying to erase all of this history and past like in 15 minutes. So it's like, I just want it now, I want it now. So it's like this weird combination of impulsiveness that leads them to go to like these subpar lenders, desperation, maybe now all of a sudden too they need money, so they want to fix it in like 2 months, and because they need money for something. So this is a long-term game. We have to start looking at this with a long-term strategy. And if you find yourself in this mess, then it's going to take you some time to get out of it. Like me, I didn't really have the other thing I would say is I didn't have the information. So if you don't have information in the beginning, it's like money and information, and or education and whatever you want to call it, right? Knowledge. And so I was missing both of those things when I first started, right? So it took me way longer to do than it was probably necessary. And I kept finding myself, the reason why the money thing kept coming into play is because I kept paying for services, trying to find good services to fix the credit. And I just kept losing money, because as soon as you send these guys money, you'll never get back. So whether they're good or not, once you've sent them money, it doesn't really matter, like the money's gone. So, I found myself consistently churning through money, thousands of dollars at a time to pay for people to fix my credit, and they just weren't fixing it, right? And then finally got one that was, I would say, okay. And then over a span of another year after that, it took them to get everything removed. And then finally, because I had a bankruptcy before from way back in 2011, something like that. Then finally that just fell off. It just fell off on its own. They couldn't even get that removed. It just fell off on its own. So anyway, my point is that you can get really obsessed trying to clean it all first and make it look really good. You can get really obsessed with spending money in the wrong, and time and focus in the wrong areas. Credit Ones, Mavericks, Indiegogo, store cards, all this stuff that's junk. That's not going to get you to what you actually want. What we want, high limit cards at great institutions that are widely accepted. So we're not getting bent over on fees, we're not getting bent over on, usage or any of that, right? And hopefully it's coming with some sort of sign-up bonus that we can tap into at some point. So I think that's it. Like, that's the big trick, is that one, most people are focusing on the wrong things. They're not getting a clear understanding of what they're up against, timeline to get through that, and and then putting their focus in the areas that'll matter to rebuild into the ecosystems, right? So whether it's Navy Fed or Penn Fed, pretty similar scenarios, right? Pretty similar institutions, and you can build out into those ecosystems, or picking another credit union that you know does similar, and then picking out a couple of bigger institutions that you could do similar. You can open up checking accounts, you can open up high yield savings accounts, and start to build that history, even though you've got all this stuff on your credit report. Like, it would actually make more sense for you to just leave the credit report alone, don't try and clean it up at all, and just go do these other steps instead. That would be more valuable use of your time and your money. Because in a time that it would take you to go and establish these relationships over here, you might not have even had any progress over there, trying to pay to get the stuff removed, etc. Right? And once you get all of that removed, you would then just be right back over here. So if anything, you should be starting both at the same time. Getting your feet into the door, because all these accounts, they got to season up for 3-6 months anyways. You got to be showing direct deposits so that we can get the history with them, right? So that should be happening while simultaneously we're trying to go and learn over here and correct and make this cleaned up over there. So anyways, I hope that helps. If you are in the rebuilding credit phase, that's the way I'd be looking at it. That's the way I would suggest you to look at it, is building out both of those so that 3 to 6 months from now, we've got progress over here, progress over there. And even if nothing's changed over here, we got something over here that we can now get into other products, right? In that ecosystem, making this not matter so much anymore. So there you have it, my friends. If you got questions, comment below, or if you think I missed something, comment below, or just for the algorithms. Hit the like button, and then subscribe if you're brand new here, and hit the bell notification. Be on the lookout, more videos coming soon.